The conference room fell completely, silent the moment the CEO slammed a folder onto the polished oak table. Coffee cups rattled, laptops snapped shut, and every executive froze in place. His voice echoed through the glass walls with a mixture of disbelief and fury that no one had ever heard before. The words hit every employee like thunder. Who fired him? The question hung in the air unanswered, while security footage played across the giant screen. It showed a quiet janitor carrying a worn backpack, gently helping an elderly co-worker lift heavy boxes only hours before being escorted out of the building. Nobody in that room realized that the humble single father they had dismissed without a second thought quietly owned investments worth billions of dollars. What happened next would change every life inside that company forever. Before we continue this unforgettable story, please take a moment to like this video, comment below, share it with someone who believes kindness always matters, and subscribe to Soulful Tales2 if you believe in kindness, second chances, and the power of judging people by their hearts instead of their appearances. Every city has people who seem invisible. They walk through crowded streets unnoticed, wear ordinary clothes, and quietly carry burdens that the world never sees. Among them was Alaric Rowan, a 38-year-old widowed father raising his 8-year-old daughter, Nora. Each morning before sunrise, while most of the city still slept, Alaric prepared breakfast, braided Nora's hair with surprising patience, packed her school lunch with handwritten notes tucked inside, and walked her to the neighborhood bus stop with a warm smile that never revealed the exhaustion hidden behind his gentle eyes. After the bus disappeared around the corner, he boarded another bus heading downtown, where he worked as a maintenance employee inside one of the country's largest technology corporations. His faded uniform, patched shoes, and quiet personality made him almost invisible. Employees hurried past him every day without learning his name. Some nodded politely, many ignored him completely, and a few looked through him as though he were part of the furniture. What none of them knew was that Alaric had once built a revolutionary software company years earlier with two close friends. Before the company became famous, he had quietly sold most of his leadership role after his wife became seriously ill. He chose family over fame without regret. The sale left him with an enormous fortune that careful investing multiplied into billions over the following decade. After losing his wife, he promised himself he would never allow money to define his life. Instead, he spent much of his wealth anonymously funding children's hospitals, scholarships, shelters, and food banks. He deliberately lived modestly because he wanted Nora to understand gratitude rather than privilege. Working a regular job helped him stay grounded and close to ordinary people whose struggles reminded him why compassion mattered. Inside the corporate headquarters, however, appearances meant everything. Expensive suits commanded respect, while simple uniforms often attracted indifference. The newly promoted operations manager, Victor Hale, believed efficiency mattered more than humanity. He saw maintenance workers as numbers on payroll reports, instead of individuals with lives, dreams, and families. When quarterly profits dipped slightly below expectations, Victor searched desperately for departments where costs could be cut. Without investigating employee records or speaking to supervisors, he approved several immediate dismissals, including Alaric's position. The decision took less than 2 minutes to sign. That afternoon, Alaric quietly emptied his small locker. Inside were only a family photograph, an old lunch container, a paperback novel, and a tiny drawing Nora had made with bright crayons. She had written, "Daddy is my superhero, because he always smiles." He folded the picture carefully and slipped it into his backpack before thanking every co-worker who wished him well. There was no anger in his expression, only quiet disappointment. Losing the job meant less routine, fewer friendships, and another difficult conversation with Nora about unexpected change. As Alaric walked toward the exit, he noticed a frightened intern, struggling to carry several heavy computer monitors after everyone else ignored her request for help. Although he had already been fired, he placed his backpack down and carried the equipment all the way across the building. The intern thanked him with watery eyes, unaware that he was leaving forever. Security cameras captured the entire moment. That evening, Nora noticed her father's unusually quiet mood. She asked whether everything was all right. Instead of complaining, Alaric smiled gently and explained that sometimes life closes one door so another can open. They spent the evening making homemade pizza together, laughing when flour covered the kitchen floor. Before bed, Nora hugged him tightly and whispered that everything would be okay, because heroes always find another way. Those simple words stayed in Alaric's heart. Meanwhile, events inside the corporation began spiraling in a completely different direction. The following morning, the board of directors received shocking financial reports. An anonymous investment group that owned a controlling share of the company requested an emergency meeting with the CEO. Nobody knew much about the group's mysterious founder because he rarely appeared publicly and conducted nearly all business through private representatives. The board only knew that his investments had rescued several struggling companies over the years. When the representatives arrived, they requested recent personnel records. As they reviewed the latest termination list, one assistant suddenly stopped turning pages. His face turned pale. He immediately placed a confidential photograph on the CEO's desk. It showed the anonymous founder attending a charity event years earlier. The man in the photograph looked remarkably familiar. After comparing it with security footage, the CEO realized the impossible truth. The quiet maintenance employee dismissed the previous afternoon was the very investor whose organization effectively controlled the future of the company. The CEO demanded an immediate explanation. Department heads scrambled through emails, approval forms, and management reports. Every signature led back to Victor Hale. When asked why he had dismissed Alaric, Victor simply replied that maintenance positions were replaceable. Those words filled the room with unbearable silence because everyone finally understood the magnitude of his mistake. He had measured a human being solely by a job title. The CEO ordered every available employee to locate Alaric immediately. Phone calls went unanswered because Alaric had turned off his phone to spend uninterrupted time with Nora at a local park. They fed ducks beside a quiet lake, laughed while flying a bright red kite, and shared ice cream beneath warm afternoon sunlight. For the first time in months, Alaric felt completely free from schedules and deadlines. Eventually, a handwritten letter from the CEO reached his modest home. Instead of legal threats or business proposals, the letter contained a heartfelt apology and an invitation to meet privately. Curious but cautious, Alaric agreed. When he entered the executive office days later, the atmosphere could not have been more different from the way employees had treated him before. Every executive stood respectfully. Expensive chairs had been arranged around a simple wooden table because Alaric requested an informal conversation. He did not arrive wearing luxury clothing or expensive watches. He wore the same simple jacket he always had. The CEO apologized sincerely for what had happened and admitted the company had failed to recognize the dignity of every employee. He expected anger, demands, or revenge. Instead, Alaric calmly explained that losing a job hurt far less than losing respect. He spoke about countless workers who cleaned offices before sunrise, repaired machinery during holidays, and sacrificed precious family time so businesses could succeed. Most would never become billionaires. Most simply deserved kindness. Those words reached far deeper than any financial warning ever could. Rather than punish the company by withdrawing investments, Alaric proposed something unexpected. He offered to fund a nationwide employee welfare initiative that guaranteed emergency financial assistance, mental health counseling, childcare support, educational scholarships, and leadership training focused on empathy instead of authority. His only condition was that every employee, regardless of position, would receive equal dignity and opportunity. The board unanimously accepted. Within months, remarkable changes spread throughout the organization. Executives regularly spent one day, each quarter, working alongside maintenance teams, cafeteria staff, and security guards. Managers attended compassion workshops before receiving promotions. Anonymous recognition programs celebrated unseen acts of kindness rather than only sales numbers. Employee satisfaction reached historic highs while productivity quietly followed. Victor Hale also faced consequences. He lost his management position, but instead of being publicly humiliated, he was assigned to community service projects supported by the company. Working beside ordinary families, struggling through difficult times slowly transformed his understanding of leadership. For the first time, he learned that authority without compassion eventually destroys itself. Nora watched these events unfold without fully understanding her father's wealth. To her, the greatest achievement was seeing him smile more often. One evening she asked whether being rich meant buying a bigger house. Alaric looked around their cozy home filled with family photographs, books and laughter, before telling her that true wealth meant having enough to help others sleep peacefully at night. Nora nodded thoughtfully and placed another drawing on the refrigerator. This one showed many people holding hands beneath a bright sun with the words, "Kind hearts make the biggest homes." Years later, employees still remembered the mysterious maintenance worker who quietly changed the company forever. New hires heard stories about the billionaire who carried trash bags, repaired broken lights, comforted lonely coworkers, and never once revealed his fortune to earn respect. The story became part of the company's culture, reminding everyone that greatness often arrives wearing ordinary clothes. If this story has touched your heart so far, please like this video, leave a heartfelt comment, share it with your friends and family, and subscribe to Soulful Tales2. Your support helps us continue bringing inspiring stories that remind the world kindness still exists. Special request, comment below with the words, "Kindness always wins." If you believe every person deserves respect, no matter their job or appearance. As the sun set over the city one peaceful evening, Alaric and Nora walked hand in hand through a neighborhood park filled with children laughing beneath golden daylight. No cameras followed them. No reporters asked questions. No one pointed at the billionaire strolling beside his daughter. To everyone else, they were simply a loving father and a happy little girl enjoying another ordinary day together. And perhaps that was the greatest success of all. In a world obsessed with status, power, and wealth, one quiet single father proved that the richest person is never the one with the biggest bank account, but the one whose kindness leaves a permanent mark on countless hearts. Long after titles fade, fortunes change, and offices grow silent, people will always remember how someone made them feel. That is the kind of legacy no amount of money can ever buy. And it is the reason one forgotten employee became unforgettable forever.